Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this episode of SBB Live. I am your host and the publisher of Seniors Blue Book, Amanda Barton. Delighted today to bring on Miss Heidi Brown with Heidi Brown Geriatric Care Management. How are you this morning, Heidi?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on. It's always so fun to be with you.
Yes, ma'am. It certainly is. It certainly is. That dynamic smile is just the perfect way to start the morning.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
Now, you are a geriatric care manager by trade. Talk to us a little bit about exactly what a geriatric care manager is and some examples of how you help your clients.
Okay, great. I'd be happy to. Geriatric care management is a profession. Another name or term for geriatric care management is aging life care. So I am also known as an aging life care manager, aging life care specialist. There is a certification that one should look for if you want to work with a aging life care manager or geriatric care manager. One can have different kinds of backgrounds to become a geriatric care manager. My background is social work. I have a master's degree in social work. I'm a member of the Academy of Certified Social Workers. I am a certified care manager, and my experience has always been working with seniors. I'm not new to this space. My background mainly has been with senior living, overseeing independent living, assisted living, dementia care, skilled nursing, and always we bring our own personal experiences to what we do. About 7 years ago, my dad moved to Florida and lived with my husband and me until he passed away. So I was able to bring into my home caregivers and durable medical equipment, 24/7 oxygen, hospice care. And it was a great experience for us. So I'm able to take my personal experience as the adult daughter, caregiver, having all of this go on in your home, as well as understanding and still having passion for senior living.
Yeah.
Other care managers might have a nursing background.
Yeah.
Other care managers might have occupational therapy background. So all of that is incredibly valuable, and part of the process of choosing who to work with is what their background is, what they bring to you. Most importantly, in working with a geriatric care manager is to ensure that there is a certification and there is the right fit, because what we do is so personal, it's so intimate. What do we do? Well, in essence, we become, or at least this is how I approach it, I become a surrogate family member. I am the eyes, the ears, the boots on the ground, the advocate for, and I'm going to say the senior, but I do have clients in their 70s. So it's really a broad range and scope of individuals who we help. A lot of the work we do has to do with long distance caregiving. So there is no longer family around. And that's really when you become that surrogate family member. We assess and monitor, we plan and problem solve, we educate, we're advocates, family caregiver, coaching, and hopefully we provide peace of mind. We take the burden off of the senior or the client and their families so they can just enjoy that relationship.
Yeah.
And if there is no one else, we step in.
Important. That dynamic is so important. And it's important for, the daughter or son to be able to continue being that instead of a full-time caregiver. And I also feel like you're that clinical eyes and ears that can relate back to the family member exactly what the doctors are trying to say. Because I could use a care manager to go to the doctor with me. It goes in one ear and out the other, especially when you're in crisis mode. So
that is that assessment, the monitoring, the communication. A lot of times I am either with a client for a telehealth visit or I am in person. And I am the one who really synthesizes all the information and sent it back out to the family and to other healthcare providers.
Right.
So in essence, Amanda, I love to think of what we do, we geriatric care managers, as we become that central address.
Absolutely.
We become the ones who vet the resources, find the resources, oversee, and communicate with the whole care team. Geriatric care manager is just one piece.
Right.
And we are as good as the trusted partners and advisors that we bring to bear. And that is one of the reasons why I love Seniors Blue Book. And thanks to you and Samantha in particular, because I find so many trusted partners and advisors through my network and through my relationships. Many are part of Seniors Blue Book.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Now, I know that we were talking about having you give a few examples of clients that you've helped recently, just so our viewers have an idea of exactly what your services are in real time, in real life.
Yeah. Every situation is different. Here's a couple of examples. One woman resides in her home. It's a beautiful older home. She is 90. And she is choosing to stay in her home, in her own home, no matter what, till the end of her life. So we have in place for her 24/7 care managers. And it is a mix of care managers who are private, who she has worked with over the years, and then supplemented by care managers through an agency. So I oversee and coordinate all that they're doing 24/7. I communicate with them as private caregivers. I communicate with the agency, with the daughter. I make sure everybody is on the same page. I make sure the medications, to the best of my ability before bringing in nurse and doctors, are appropriate. I go to doctor appointments, telehealth appointments, make sure the medications are refilled, delivered, put in the right pill box. And then I meet with the resident on a regular basis in her home with no air conditioning, by the way, and that's what she chooses, so that her health needs are continually addressed. So in that scenario, it's bringing a lot of resources to the home. There's also resources that we bring to the home, such as wound care. You could have IVs in the home. You could have physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. Bringing as many resources to her as possible, because as she continues to age, it's harder and harder for her to leave the home. When she does go to appointments, I arrange all the transportation. So for her, it's a lot of organizing and coordinating that most people perhaps don't have the time, the attention to detail, or the connections to find the very best resources so that she is well cared for and it meets her needs. All of that happens while she's in the center of this hub. So does that help you with one type of?
For sure. Yeah, that's a great.
So another situation is a client was going to move into an assisted living community right before everything was set up. Right before she moved in, she had a fall. She had a wound on her leg. She had to go to rehab. She became more weak, more frail, more disoriented. Going back to that assisted living facility was not going to be an option for her. So finding another residence, I don't want to say placement, because we're dealing with, individuals and should always be treated with dignity and respect, but finding another residence for her, in addition to, she has no family, only a power of attorney, who is also more elderly in Chicago. So for her, some of the things I'm doing is helping finish the sale of her condominium. She has a car that she's leasing, getting the car back to the dealership, helping her with her mail and figuring out what bills to pay and what services she no longer requires. The transition from the rehab. So I'm the continuity of care, that warm, consistent individual that she has come to rely on, to know, and to trust. So those are two examples of somebody who is in home 24/7 and somebody who's not able to live at home and already going through different levels of care in senior living.
Mhm,
A
mhm.
third example is very different, and it's more what I call baby boomers
Yeah,
who are planning ahead.
very
And
smart.
for several reasons, they don't have family members to become their healthcare surrogate if they can't do it for each other, if they're a couple, or individually if there's nobody available to be that go-to healthcare surrogate person.
Right.
Maybe there's no family, maybe they have seen they have done it for their parents and they don't wish their children to have to do it for
Yep.
them. So those are my kind of in case of emergency folks
Mhm.
that will touch base once a quarter and make sure that all the documents are up to date, make sure that I am exquisitely aware of any changes in their wishes and desires so that I can jump in and act on their behalf
Yeah.
if I need to. And when we talk about, that hub of resources, it could be an elder law attorney, it could be estate planning, it could be wealth managers, it could be anything in the health related field. It could be looking at electronic devices so that they can continue to easily communicate with family members who don't reside here. So there's so many different things that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
able to do.
For sure, for sure. Well, these are perfect examples, Heidi. I think it's a good overview for our readers and our viewers
Good.
today. And I thank you so, so much for your valuable time this morning. I know you have a very busy day and just grateful you could take the time out.
Yeah, I love to be with you and thank you so very much for having me this morning.